my God, I'm in the same shirt. That is so unlucky. So here's how we're gonna start this. I might have been a little wrong about Jeff. Not from the ways that you think, but I was definitely wrong a little bit about him. My biggest complaints about Jeff was that he has zero survivability. He has no real value to the team outside of healing now, and his ult still sucks. The only real valid complaint that I had there was his ult still sucks. And it's not even as bad as I thought it would be. Now, before when I was playing Jeff in season 2, I would often use my ult very aggressively, and while I still do that, I've actually taken a step back. And instead of playing so aggressively with my ult, I've been using it very passively and defensively for my team, right? If you've ever played Overwatch 1, then you know all about Doomfist using his ult as a get out of jail free card, right? It would go in, he would get some kind of value, as much value as he can, and then he would get out with his ult. And then maybe he'd even use his ult to finish off what he started, or he would just get the fuck out after getting as much value as he could. Now, I don't necessarily use it like that with Jeff, but if I know that the enemy team has a lot of flyers or just a lot of characters that have abilities that prevent you from getting an effective ult off, then I pivot. And I just start using my ult for 1, to get out, 2, to use it with Storm if we have a Storm and she's not banned every fucking game, or 3, I use it defensively. I actually have a few clips of not only on my main account, but also on my alt account, which is really just my girlfriend's account that I play on when I turn my brain off, of me using Jeff's ult defensively very well. So let's talk about a few things that I was wrong about. I think the pierce and damage on Jeff's M1 really insignificant at first, but the more I played him, the more I found out just how truly useful it is. And also the right click being his aqua splash, or what the fuck is it? Aqua burst. His right click being his aqua burst. Did they update this? They did update it. That's cool. This is actually far more valuable than I thought at first. What I like to do a lot of the times is I will eat somebody, take them away, and because I know I can get away faster, I will just right click them back into wherever I put them. Again, I'm only Grandmaster 3 right now. I haven't played very much outside of the first few days of the season. Like, as you can see here, the season went live the 31st. Obviously, you can see all the SVPs and MVPs. That was me clapping from Diamond to GM. I still get a fair amount, to be honest. Oh, those are a quick match. Let me go comp. But yeah, as you can see from the dates, I played a fuck ton on the first day he came out. And then I played a bit on the first, a bit on the third. I took a big hiatus here. I didn't play him very much. I have how many hours on the season? 6 hours on the season of Jeff? Or 5.5, whatever. And my win rate's pretty good. My win rate is pretty good. You know, I am, what, 17 and 12? Pretty good win rate, I'd say. That is very north of 50%. And my take is that the damage that Jeff provides is actually pretty significant. Of course, you'd still want to take like Luna or Cloak or Loki, all these other supports over Jeff. But as someone like me who sees Marvel Rivals as a super non-competitive game, I think it's truly uncompetitive. Obviously, it's going to be made competitive by whoever plays it, but I think the balancing in this game is just too awful for me to consider it competitive. So I play it pretty casually compared to some of the other FPSs. Well, obviously it's not an FPS, but you understand the concept that I'm trying to say here. Like, I played a lot of Splitgate, I've played a lot of Overwatch, I've played a lot of Fortnite, also not an FPS, but again, you understand the concept that I'm trying to say here, right? Like, I've been pretty high rank in all those games. And when I came to Marvel Rivals, I instantly, in my head, said, this is just going to be a casual game for me. And it still is. I still play fairly casually. There was a while where I was getting pretty mad at losses and wins, but it doesn't really matter. So somebody who plays pretty casually, I'm not... if I truly need to swap Jeff in order to win the game and for my teammates not to call me the worst slurs I've ever heard in my life, fine, whatever, I'll swap. But I don't want to, and most of the time I'm not going to unless I'm feeding my fucking brains out. And with that in mind, me just hard-locking Jeff, I haven't had a bad time. Now, I will say his gameplay is far less engaged in the sense of you kind of just sit back and hold M1. Like, let's take a look at this game here. This game here, I had ridiculous stats. Ridiculous stats, okay? I had the most damage on my team, had the most healing on my team, and I mean, I didn't die. I had the least deaths, most heals, most damage, and obviously stats don't really matter that much, especially if you lose, but we won, so I'm gonna take the credit. Again, I am GM3, I'm not that high ranked. A lot would consider this very low, but I mean, this is really all I did while playing Jeff. I just took off angles in which I had a very long downrange spout for my left click. And this is essentially it. You know, you kind of you toss your bubbles every once in a while to make sure that your tanks have the healing that they need. In this case, my whole team was doing fantastic in terms of damage, but there were times where it became very tedious. The reason I kind of like the rework nowadays is because I don't have to do much. I do this. I get dopamine from the fucking hit mark sound effects from doing a bunch of damage and healing at the same time. Now here I used my ult pretty aggressively, but it's because we were up and I got it within the first minute of the game. Brought the thing all the way back, kind of tossed him out, right click him. But that's what I'm talking about, right? Like you'll actually see me later in this game, or I'll probably just skip to it here in a bit. But you'll see that I eat a tank and I kind of just take them out the fight and then right click them away. Because the right click is very valuable, especially when you're going up against flankers like Magic, Spider-Man, Black Panther. Black Panther is still a menace for you. You know, spear dash will still kill you. So you have to, you know, keep an eye out for that, but it's still pretty good against it, right? If you're aware and you understand where the Black Panther is coming from and you can get a jump on it, not only can you get some poke damage from his left click, but you can also get a decent right click and throw him off where his spear is gonna go or where he wants to dash. Right? So I think it's actually incredibly valuable. I think this season's Jeff is far more of a team player than last season's, where obviously you kind of just hop in the back line and be a menace. You be a little terrorist shark. But I don't think he's that bad. Now, I was talking to Gaskin the other day, and he was saying that he thinks Jeff is really good. Or I wouldn't say really good, but he's pretty good, right? And he's playable. I just feel like once you get to higher ranks, they will start exploiting the fact that you don't have a true defensive ult. Like, of course, like I said, you can use Jeff's ult defensively, not in the same sense as a Luna or a Cloak or a Loki when they copy another support, or an Invisible Woman, right? That just has pure invincibility. You have to be far more tactical with his ult to play defensively, and far more tactical to play aggressively with him. There's a lot of moving parts that go into it, I think. You just have to, it's on a case-by-case basis. But overall, I don't mind the rework as much as I once did, because I wanted to be that little terroristic shark, just in the back line, causing mayhem, getting big damage numbers, getting big final hit numbers. Nowadays, you don't get much of that. But you can see here, I'm essentially playing the role of a sniper in terms of my positioning. Now here, I kind of thought my team would turn around and kill the Moon Knight, so I played it very passively. But the point still stands that if you're aware and you know where you need to go, his swim form is still very strong. You just can't abuse it like you once could. You know, still popping a bubble, swim form, and getting out. You still get the extra healing from the bubble. You still get the extra movement speed from the bubble. Now, I did notice one thing where they reverted the nerf on his shift to where you get the same amount of HP while swimming. I will also say that I had the Venom team up here. I still don't fucking know what the Venom... I know it like grapples onto people and heals them or whatever, but I still don't really know great times to pop it, or the cooldowns, or the range, or how much it heals, or anything like that. The team up probably is good. It's like one of those things, it's like, why not use it? But I am thoroughly... See, look, I pop it here. We have defensive ults with our Cloak. I got 2. This is simply just to win a fight. And they don't go off, obviously, right? But look at this. Look how disruptive the right click was. Obviously, the Bucky isn't going to go off the map because he has his fucking, you know, Superman punch that somehow propels him back onto land. But me right-clicking him and forcing him into a spot where he doesn't necessarily know where he's going, it was super beneficial. I don't think I would have killed the Bucky if my right-click didn't have the bump. Of course, old Jeff probably would have still killed them both, but I'm just trying to point the fact that it's not nearly as bad as I thought it would be, and I think I definitely overreacted a bit. It's still not as good as Season 2 Jeff towards the end, when everybody started really realizing just how strong he was. But, see, like, I used it here. I don't know what the fuck it does, the team up. Now look at this. This is a case of me using the Jeff ult very defensively. my Strange was gonna die here. And so what I did is I swallowed him up, and now that you get overhealth, well, he didn't get the overhealth because he wasn't high HP enough, but he was gonna die there. If I don't eat him there, he dies, guaranteed. I think Jeff isn't as bad as I had once thought him to be. In fact, I think he's pretty viable in a lot of situations. With the right comp, you can get away with him being just you and another support. But triple support, I think, is really good this season with how good Ultron is. So you'll probably more than likely always have a triple support. And I think that's kind of where he thrives. And the off chance in which your team or the enemy team doesn't ban Storm, then you just have the strongest fucking team up of all time on your hands. Now here I just got tired of the mark. I wanted to get him out of here. But look at this. Look how much the left click disrupts. It's actually quite nice. And on top of that, when you right click a flyer, they will fall a bit because it gives them a moment of no control over their moment. It gives them a moment of no control over their movement or where they are, and it kind of cancels out their flying, so they just kind of drop like a fly. Of course they'll get it back in like a second or something, but for that 1 second they are very, very vulnerable. And look at this, I was still able to get away from the Moon Knight. His survivability obviously isn't as good as it once was, with the fact that you no longer have burst healing on your bubbles and you don't have infinite swim. But it really isn't terrible. You don't fall over as much as I thought you did. See, I eat the penny here, and then I die because I was an idiot. I thought I had an awesome proving point here, but I had nothing. I think me eating the penny did win us the round and allow us to cap, but I thought I was about to pull out a super awesome fucking learning moment. Like, look at this, guys. This was a really good fucking idea of what I just did here, and here's a good point to conceptualize what I'm trying to explain. But no, it was just me kind of throwing. I am a member, unfortunately, of the r/Jeff the Landshark mains. And I say unfortunately because recently it's been a lot of doom posting in that subreddit, which I get. He did get reworked. A lot of people are unhappy with it. And at first I was unhappy with it as well. But the more I played him, the more I enjoy him, to be completely frank with you. And I don't think the rework killed Jeff. In fact, I think he's probably getting played now more than ever. And so I did have a slight overreaction, but this is me eating my words, and I'm very happy that I am. I will say about Jeff, however, is that he's kind of a stat pattern. If you win, you typically have big stats. If you lose, you typically have big stats. And he always looks good on the stat sheet. But there are times, like, look at this. Look how much damage I'm actually doing. It's 70 a second. And I'm hitting like 3 or 4 people at a time, right? I'm dealing like 280 to 350 damage a second. And I get my ult so incredibly fast. And that's kind of why I'm just kind of tossing my ults out there, because I just get them so fast. As long as I'm not putting myself in a position in which I miss my ult and I get myself killed, you can kind of just, like, look at this. I got my ult within, again, 50 seconds. I got 3, I'm getting the fuck out of there, right? Tossing him in this corner, my team turns around, they capitalize. Like, it's just that easy. You know what I mean? It's simply just that easy. Toss a bubble out, get my teammates there faster, make sure we get that cloak and dagger. I really do enjoy the shark. The little fish dog is at its peak in terms of playtime, probably. Besides from when he launched, because, you know, he was brand new and everybody wanted to try him. I'm happy with him. I was upset at first, and I was part of the group of people that was overreacting. I'm sure I've said it quite a bit, but that's just the truth, and I want to hammer that home. We do end up winning this game. I do believe they cap 3rd. I had a fuck ton of stats, and I did end up with MVP. You will get MVP and SVP quite a bit if you position correctly and don't play like an idiot. I don't think I saved my... Okay, I do remember this. Okay, so let me show you exactly what was going through my head, right? So I die, but I think the value that I got out of this ult was actually quite significant for the fact that I died. I see that my... So before I ate, I kind of saw that my Strange was struggling a little bit, right? We were down our penny. We didn't really have much. So I did something to try and turn the tides of that fight, considering it was a lost fight since we didn't have a tank. Now, what I did here was I wanted to go for the Strange eat, because I wanted to get him back to safety so we could reset and not have a bunch of our clock eaten. So I get 5. I got their invis, I got their squirrel, and then I got 3 of my own teammates. These 2 guys are probably really upset that I got them, but the Strange was gonna die. This would have been a really, really good ult If I had just walked out of the goddamn Ankh, if I had just moved 4 inches, how do I go free camera C? If I had just moved 3 inches out of the Ankh, I would have lived. That's all I had to do. Honestly, if I had just kept swimming, I was scared that my teammates were gonna get upset with me. And I'm more concerned about my teammates' mental over, like, I don't know, me dying once. Because if my teammates' mental boom, then it's GG. You gotta understand that every game is a mental war, all right? Like, obviously the mechanical skill and your team comp and your rank all have to do with it. But if you have a teammate who's just had 4 losses in a row because of Timmy 942 on their team locked Punisher and went 0-10, they're obviously gonna be fucking tilted, right? So I'm sitting here thinking, okay, I need to get them out of my mouth as soon as possible so they don't be upset and feel as if I threw. And so I kind of rushed it. And because of that, I died from the Magneto, but a bulk of the damage was from the Ankh because Mark decided to throw his random shit at me. But if I had just moved, or if I just kept swimming, like I could have done one of these where I was here and then dun 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 dun, or you know, something like that. Climb up a wall, go around here, come back down. You know, I have my rocket here. Oh no, that's not my rocket. We don't have a rocket, but you get what I'm trying to say, right? I could have done a bunch of different things. Instead, I think I chose the worst possible option, and then now we're down 2 in the fight. I've lost my ult. My team is in a bad spot. I mean, that just comes with the risks of trying to play this defensively, because you can essentially turn a tide with your fight, no pun intended, but you could also go for a bad ult, die, and then put your team in an even worse spot, right? So you just have to be really pick and choosy with his ults. But I think that's how I would recommend you using his ult from now on, is if you're up, use it to secure the win fight, or the fight win. If you're down, try to eat somebody if you really need to and get the fuck out. Don't do that every time. This is not financial advice. Do not put all your money into the defensive Jeff ult stonks, but you get the point that I'm trying to make. It's very situational. Oh, actually, let me show you this one really good Jeff save that I had on my ult account. So give me 1 sec to do that. Now check out this pretty sick ult. So what I do here is they use both Strange ults and Namor ults for a combo, right? Like the Strange eyes everybody, and then the Namor tosses in his big ass fucking whale, and the whale just kind of chomps everyone. But what I did is the second I heard that the Strange ult go off as I ulted, 3 people, spit them back out. Honestly, I should have kept the Strange in my mouth a bit longer, but that ult was disgusting. That ult was so fucking good. You do not get it, man. So let's take a look at this, right? If I don't eat them here, he's dead, she's dead, he's probably dead. I can't confirm 100% that the Hawkeye would die. He wouldn't die to the Namor ult, but he would take damage from the Namor ult, be stunned, and then the Groot would probably die. All 3 of these people would more than likely die if I didn't ult here. And because you have iframes when you're eating with Jeff, you don't take damage from the Namor ult. You eat all 3 of them. You heal all 3 of them because they're in you, and whenever you eat an ally, they heal. And then I also took a Strange with me. Like, the Strange was still alive. Everybody on their team was still alive. They would have 100% died, all 3 of them. But that's the type of stuff that I'm talking about. That's the type of ability that Jeff has with his ult in terms of defensive, right? Because you have to remember, the second you eat, as long as you eat somebody and he goes the fucking toilet bowl suction in, right? He has iframes. He can't die there. It's similar to the iframes that Star-Lord has when he does his little front flips. But again, this is just a great example of what you can do with his ults. Obviously, that's not going to happen to you every time, but I canceled out 2 ults with my 1 ult, saved 3 people, and if I had played it correctly, I probably could have taken a tank completely out of the fight, made it a 5v5, because me and the Stranger are probably going to go for a trip way back here, and then I could probably kill him. But I think with us having a Warlock and a Luna, me taking a tank out of the fight is far more valuable than me being in the fight. I mean, that's really all I have to yap about for Jeff now. I can give you a mid-season update on my thoughts if people care, but otherwise I stream pretty infrequently over at twitch.tv/Pollard if you want to check it out. I primarily play anything I want. I don't really have a main game, and that's probably hurting me pretty significantly, but I do play a fair amount of Marvel Rivals. I'm a video editor for a few Marvel Rival content creators you probably know, so you might catch me doing that. I'm a big Splitgate enjoyer. I understand that their Summer Games Fest announcement wasn't exactly great. I think Cardinal Soldier could have said something a bit better, but he addressed it all, and I think he did a great job recovering. On Twitter. Either way, I digress. Thank you guys for watching. Appreciate it. Bye-bye.